What's going on, you guys? It's Ariel here at the Gamers Respite. Welcome to another podcast. I have some really awesome guests here today. You know them, you love them, you pick on them sometimes. We have Greg Miller and we have Mr. Snowbike Mike over here. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are well.
Mike, how are you?
I'm great, Greg. I'm so happy. I'm smiling. We're on a fun podcast together. Getting to meet someone new and getting to talk video games is always my favorite.
100%. Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Ariel. This is a huge honor. And Mike even wore his best athletic shorts.
Listen, the athletic...
What, you going to play basketball after this? What are you doing?
You see my top half, you know I put on the nice sweater for her. But yeah, I kept it shorts on the bottom, is right.
See, this is what you don't know about content creators, you guys. We wear our best up here, but down here it's all pajamas.
Let it breathe.
Let it go. Let it go. So today we are going to be diving into some really awesome topics. We're going to be talking about 10 years of Kind of Funny. And the first one, the one that you really are going to hear the New York just pop out consistently, is Bloodborne, the 10-year anniversary that happened.
Crazy.
Wow.
Oh my god. Okay, first of all, have you guys played Bloodborne? I assume you guys have played Bloodborne.
I have played Bloodborne. I have rolled credits on Bloodborne.
I have played Bloodborne and rolled credits on Bloodborne, thanks to some incredible Twitch streamers that I would just watch them make every move and follow their exact movements.
See, for me, it was GameSpot's Timur Hussein coming in and being my number two there in the back half.
Right? And so with the 10-year anniversary of Bloodborne, what are your guys' thoughts on basically there's no remaster, there's no PC port. I know, Greg, you did an interview with someone who previously worked with Miyazaki, and he basically said that Miyazaki wants to work on that project. That's kind of like his baby in a way. What do you guys think about the no PC port and remaster?
Crazy, right? Yeah, you're talking about an interview you did with Shuhei Yoshida, who was a former Sony first party president, and then, of course, did the Indie Initiative, and then, of course, left PlayStation. And it's a very interesting one. I think very few devs get to that level of respect where PlayStation's like, well, we own the IP, but we don't want to piss you off. We don't want to make the next Soulsborne game Xbox exclusive.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Fine, we won't do a remaster. We won't do this kind of thing until hopefully we get your involvement.
Yeah, that team is just so busy now, right? And they're continuing to just put out great games, and you can tell they're kind of focused on the future here and maybe not looking at the past. But amazing to celebrate 10 years. They've had nothing but great games in the catalog, and it's wild that this one was the most beloved, right? A PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
All the other ones reaching maybe a larger audience than just being on PlayStation, but something that's so special 10 years later, that is Bloodborne, only on PlayStation, no PC, is wild. So I love Bloodborne. I can't stop playing it, but I am surprised that we haven't got a remake in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I mean, the thing is that, I mean, guys, when I tell you that my love for Bloodborne is ultimate, like, there is no greater love that I have for a game. I've sunk almost...
Has it infected elsewhere then? Did you go back to Demon's Souls, another PlayStation exclusive?
Exactly.
Did you do Dark Souls? Did you do Elden Ring?
Oh my god. Yeah, no, the reason actually on this is one channel I have for the podcast. My other channel for Huggable Hipster is entirely Souls and Souls-like content with reviews. Okay. So I have made my entire being almost exuding of the Souls
this
games.
This isn't a game to me.
Yes, exactly.
This is livelihood, okay? And every time that I think, like, even Demon's Souls, the remake for that, if there were a remaster to that extent for Bloodborne, everyone would be licking the crumbs off of the plate that Bloodborne will now have served.
Well, I mean, you have Andy Cortez buying a $1,200 factory sealed, untouched PlayStation just to be able to mod it to play it in 60 frames per second. That's how much these fans love that game.
That's the dedication people have to it. Like, I think to your point, right? There's so many different games that come around from Software, but it is really Bloodborne that seems to have struck such a nerve with people. And Elden Ring now, but I think even that isn't the same as what that beloved nature of Bloodborne is.
Yeah, I don't think 10 years from now people are going to be going as crazy as they are for Bloodborne still, right? It's like they'll love Elden Ring, but I don't think they'll be like, I got to buy this modded PlayStation so I can play it on the next level. I think people will still love Elden Ring, but not like what we're doing with Bloodborne.
Ariel, what is it for you? 10 years later, why is Bloodborne still the cream of the crop?
Well, for me, I actually got into the PlayStation game very late. It was only 2021, I think, when I bought a PS4. And my dad was like, hey, it's your birthday. Let me gift you something awesome. And the first game that I ever played on a PlayStation was Bloodborne.
Oh, wow.
And
That's a treat.
and Yeah, so for me, it was so exciting because I saw Fighting Cowboy play it. I saw, people, like all my friends really getting into it. Orphan of Cause was the main reason why I got the game. Hands down.
God dang,
And now
that's awesome.
and now I'm able to do parrying guides for like parry only runs for that boss, which is so much fun. Like, yes, I am a masochist. Hello, but still, it's fun.
That's why I was bring up. You get a PlayStation. Your first game is Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Did the difficulty ever set in where it was like, maybe this isn't the game that I want to kick off my PlayStation entry? We think of Horizon, Last of Us,
Cinematic story-based games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, give me the hardest game possible, Dad. This is all I want.
So it's funny you say that because my Souls journey started with Dark Souls Remastered, the clunkiest fucking game ever, but it was the thing that made my heart soar because, and this is going to get into a bit of a story. I've said this before on my other podcast for my other channel, but one thing that really stuck with me was that I literally felt like after Smough Nordstein, Artorias, that the difficulty of the bosses translates into something greater in someone's life. So for me, it meant like, wow, I literally can do anything I put my mind to. So for me, the difficulty isn't just about like, yeah, I got this cool boss, get good, fellas. No, it's not only about that. It's for me, like, it's almost as if it applies to everyday life, if that makes sense.
I like that. Greg, do you feel that? Did you feel that chase, that rush of overcoming the difficulty and feeling that high afterwards? I don't know where you fell on like, yeah, that difficulty scaling.
Oh man, no, I didn't. I feel like I think difficulty is such a blanket term to throw on all of these, where it really isn't. I feel, and I'm not a Souls player. I don't consider them hard. I consider them old school of memorize the boss pattern. You need to figure this out. Yes, you're going to eat shit a bunch of different times as you learn that and feel that and vibe with that, right? So it would when I think of it, I don't feel the elation of beating it. I feel that anger of just missing it. You know what I mean? In that stream where I did Bloodborne for the first time on stream, I'd played the first 5 hours of Bloodborne probably 3 or 4 times, but the one where we committed to it during COVID, right?
Yes.
It was. Remember, you guys were so impressed that I almost beat Father Gascoigne, Father Gascoigne in one go, like my first time hitting him. And I was like, well, yeah, but guys, remember, like the mechanics we're doing in Bloodborne from this day and age, a decade ago, right? Like we're brand new, whereas like every game has adopted that of like, let's dodge roll around the back and avoid the attack, and like I don't parry well, so I avoid it. It's always like, losing in that one is what stands out to me. Losing later on, I'm like, oh, I almost had this guy, but I'm so not that gamer that I don't like hitting my head against the wall.
Okay,
but that's why I stay away from them. I don't stay away from them because they're hard. I stay away just because I know that's the hook. The hook is the do it again. All right, you failed. Go back and pick the souls and do the thing, and then it'll be the thing where I go to get the souls, but that's when I get cheap shotted and kill him. Oh, I was just getting the souls, now I lost it. I want to get to the thing I wanted to get back to. Give me a checkpoint right before the boss.
Exactly. Get good. Sorry, Greg.
Exactly. I'd rather just pour my time into Monster Hunter.
Man, don't get us started with Monster
Hunter. I need to talk about Monster Hunter because I'm in the process of doing a I had to leave. I could not. I get motion sickness so bad that during the boss battle, the camera was being all flippity doppity doo, and I couldn't. I felt like I was about to keel over for a second. But I love the game though, and that was my Monster Hunter Wilds was my first entry point into the Monster Hunter world.
What a great And correct me if I'm wrong. You like powered through. I saw something like you did like 40 some hours of it, right?
Yeah, I did like 41 hours of the game.
Yeah, so it's not like you got motion sick in the first boss fight. You struggled on. You're like, I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna do this, even if I have to kill over. I'm gonna make this happen. It's kind of like, what was it? This is Sparta.
Yeah.
So I need to know what we're going to talk about next is what you guys have been playing, what you guys have been up to lately. What has Kind of Funny been doing right now besides making Tim's life a living hell?
Thank you.
You've been really good at that.
The Tim Geddes farewell tour to his 3 stars is ongoing and going very well. We're having a great time with it. When does this go live? When do people see this?
People are probably going to be seeing this on Wednesday if I could get it done fast enough.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay, and it's Thursday now. I'm playing South of Midnight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm reviewing that alongside a bunch of the other folks tomorrow as we record this. The social media embargo lifts, saying we can say.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's great.
I'm playing through that after a very impressive preview. I'm excited to be deeper into it and get credits rolled for this review and be a part of that. I say all of that, and this is not a criticism whatsoever of South of Midnight. But last week I was playing Atomfall, trying to get as much in during GDC before getting to the Atomfall review embargo. And I did not get that much in. And I was like, over the weekend, I'm really going to play it. I'm really going to commit it. And then as soon as I got home and no longer had the review embargo on top of me, went right back to Monster Hunter. And so even playing South of Midnight now, whether I enjoy it or not enjoy it, remains to be seen. It's still, I just wish I got a Monster Hunt. I got to hunt. I got to hunt. I want to roll credits on this to go hunt.
He wants to go on the hunt. Oh, almost every night I hold back the text message where I was going to tweet at you and be like, you know what I mean? Just so you know, it's going down.
Next week is, a weird week here. It's my final week before Chicago. Before I go to that, if you live in Chicago, come see kindoffunny.com/Chicago on Thursday, April 10th. There's more free gaps next week. And I'm telling you, we got to
slide in for a little bit.
Yeah.
I love
this
that,
Nuzlocke.
Yeah, I love looking over and seeing Greg having fun gaming at his desk. You always look over. Barrett is always gaming at his desk. Blessing does a good job at it. The rest of us are in the lab playing games right now. So for us here at Kind of Funny, what have we been playing? We've been playing a lot of Pokemon Soul Silver. We have Nick Scarpino, one of our co-founders and employees, currently playing his second ever Pokemon experience with me, Andy, and Kevin. And it's a blast to go back to those, right? That is something that I grew up with Pokemon Red and Blue as a young kid. The TV show, the cards, I loved Pokemon growing up. And I haven't really played them over my years, the decades, ever since they've come out. Bless you is right. And so it's nice to return. It is fun to share this moment with Nick of what is the type of Pokemon? What is it weak to? What is it strong against? It's still question marks to us, but it is a fun moment of creating content, creating memories together, which I really love.
What made me so happy today was Kevin came in with his Switch. And Kevin's rarely playing stuff around the office. And I was like, what are you playing? He's like, I'm playing Pokemon Scarlet or Violet.
Yes.
And I was like, man, he's like, I'm in there all day doing the Nuzlocke. I wanted to play it at home. And he's like, it's amazing how many quality of life fixes there are. I'm like, yeah, Kevin, the game's come a bit since Soul Silver.
It's been a couple decades.
They've come a little bit further with that one.
So yeah, that's been a big one for us here in the office. Of course, for me outside of the office, I'm just exploring new games. It's pretty wild. Yeah. I guess old games, new games to me. I've really taken it on myself to let my friends have a little more time away from me instead of bugging them every single night to play games with me. So it's a lot of single player games right now. So I just got done with BioShock Remastered for the first time. Oddly enough, I played 2 and Infinite, never played 1.
I never played 1.
So I went back to 1 to check it out.
Very good. Kindly.
Very good. A little punishing, a little more punishing than I thought.
Oh, sure.
A lot of alarms go off and you just kind of get overwhelmed.
It was
sometimes.
a little bit more stealthy, right? That was where with BioShock Infinite, so many people were like, whoa, this is more action first person shooter.
In there, yeah. But really enjoyed the story. Wow, the setting, the story was a lot of fun. The twist, of course, was fantastic. Moving on past that, I played both Half-Life 1. I'm halfway through Half-Life 2. I am impressed with how well those still hold up, right? The old school PC first-person shooter game. You see it back in the 90s and early 2000s, and I didn't have a PC to run that ever. Sure. So it's like, I don't know. I'm seeing my friends play Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake at the time, and it's like, I'm playing Conker's Bad Fur Day and Perfect Dark and James Bond at home. And so to play them now, it's like they still hold up. It's still fun. The story is wacky, wild, and insane. They've added vehicles into 2, which just control like a dream. Big one on that one because they don't at all.
That was my thing where I didn't like Half-Life 2, again, like Orange Box, right? Like was such a big deal.
Yes.
I remember jumping in and playing that and just like, I don't like any. Like, I didn't like how the first person shooting felt. I didn't like how the driving felt, and I bounced off.
Yeah. So that's been great. And then finally is Final Fantasy X. I've fallen in love with this turn-based RPG. I am not a big turn-based guy unless it's like an XCOM, kind of a strategy game opposed to this. But for some reason, I've fallen in love with the world, the characters. I can't get enough of this story. And halfway through that's about 27 hours so far. I'm playing it every night. Wow. Like I have a problem. It's been 10 days in a row.
Wow.
Every single night. It's my thing. That's what I've been playing.
Should we do Monster Hunter text?
Yeah, exactly. We got to get back on Monster Hunter
next week. Next week should be Monster Hunter before I go to Chicago. All right.
You got a deal. I'll make it happen.
I love that.
All right. How about you? What have you been playing lately? Put us on to some new fun games that you like.
Honestly, I've been really diving back into Thymesia. Souls-likes are my jam. Like, Souls-likes are my cozy games, personally. So, like, I've been doing that. Thymesia, which is an absolutely incredible game. It kind of gives the same essence of Bloodborne, but think of it as you're a plague doctor and you are kind of trying to save the world in a way by doing battling all these different creatures and stuff. It's fun. It's on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 5. The other thing I've been playing right now is basically just like a late night kind of cozy game, Stardew Stardew Valley, get relaxed with that a little bit. I did a mod of where you can add in Astarion, so that's been a plus. It's been absolutely incredible. And one of my friends actually turned me on to that mod, and I saw it. I was like waiting for him to come by. I'm like, the way that I squealed like a giggly fangirl of the fact that Astarion was in Stardew Valley. The other one that I'm actually playing for the first time is Mass Effect 1, believe it or not.
Wow.
That's great.
Wow. Had you played 2 or 3?
Never played them before.
Wow. Okay, you're in for it then. Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Yeah, what do you think so far?
Yeah. So far, it's old shit, but I love it. You know, I love the mechanics. I love the way it's giving the early 2000s, because I started gaming in 2003, and my very first game ever was Resident Evil 1 Remake. So I loved going into that. Like, for me, GameCube, everything, just, I loved it. And then the fact that they're kind of recapturing what the 2003 vibe was in a PC, well, something that got ported to PC basically, and in that same essence, it's wonderful. I absolutely love it. So that's what I've been playing recently.
That's awesome.
There's some good pulls right there. Mass Effect is an all-timer.
Yeah.
I'm a 2 and 3 guy.
Of
it was
course.
tough to go back to 1 in 2023 whenever that remaster came out with Nick. I was like, too slow, Nick. We got to get to 2 or 3, but it's an all-timer when it comes to story.
Yeah, I actually had started 1 but way at launch back in the day at IGN, and it was that thing where I was like, this isn't for me. And then Mass Effect 2 made enough quality of life stuff that I came back and was in love for 3.
Yeah.
But the next topic I want to go into, it's kind of a spur of the moment thing, but I need to ask Greg a question, and it's very important, and I can't laugh whenever I ask this. Greg,
serious question.
What do you hate? Why do you hate us PC gamers? Why? What did we ever do?
I mean,
to
it's
you?
the fact that y'all won't admit console gaming's better. That's the problem. Every PC gamer likes to act like all the hurdles and roadblocks and thousands of dollars they have to put into these machines to not even be able to run a PlayStation 5 port, to have something else go wrong with their gajillion-dollar machine, and then they're still like, well, this is the best way to play, though. And it's like,
Tell him, Greg.
you try to start it up, and guess what? Oh, my NVIDIA isn't updated, neither is my graphics card, and I got a DOS over here. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. Turn on the PlayStation, it works most of the time.
Turn it on. It'll boot up.
No, I'm just joking. No, it's actually, I agree with the fact that it's not the best way to play, but it is one fucking great way to play.
I'll agree, and I agree with that too. Like, you know, if somebody's new around here, it's a bit character. You know, I like wrestling too much not to be a heel all the time. But it's just I've always had that problem with PC gaming. Like, and I'm talking about like before IGN, like in my high school, junior high bedroom, trying to get my parents' tower to work. It's always been something, and I know there's a million different. It really is one of those. Once you commit to it, then you're in it every day, and it's a different thing. For me, the Steam Deck's the game changer. Like, that's what I want. These rumors that Xbox is making handhelds that'll be dual boots, and maybe even the next console will do all that, and it's like, that's what I want. I love console for convenience, and I liked that long before I became a father, and now that I'm a dad of a 3.5-year-old, when I sit down and turn on the machine, whatever it is I'm playing the game, I need it to go, and I don't need it to be that, oh, well, there's this or that, and I didn't do X, Y, and Z. And so coming to a PC thing, the Steam Deck's been amazing for me, and it has really made me have an affinity for Steam and for the Steam Deck. And like, I was using that Razer laptop for a while, the Razer Blade, and really enjoying that. And I know they got a new one of those coming out, and the specs on this laptop kick the crap out of the tower I have at home. So it is very much like, I would like to probably do that, pair that up with the Steam Deck. But the problem we have, and this is heavy as the crown, you know, just today got pinged about review codes for an upcoming game. I'm like, yes, I'm getting every things. Is this going to be Steam Deck compatible at review? And they're like, no, it won't be out. I'm like, God, all right, give me a play. You know, now I'm dragging a PlayStation in Chicago because I want to be able to play this. And, like, no. And this is the back and forth that I live in every day.
Yeah, it is probably, I think, the most first worldist of first world problems of where I have to decide. It's like, okay, am I going to actually suffer through and try to make this game work on PC, or am I just going to have the ease of access right now to record the capture footage that I need on Xbox or PlayStation? Funny enough, I never got the chance to use a Steam Deck before because, you know, I just never got the chance to do it. Yeah. But I'm hearing all over the place that it's one of the best ways. And I don't travel for work, but I travel with my folks a lot, and we do a lot of things outside. So I thought, oh, you know what? I can do review notes for this game while I'm in the car or while I'm here, and I'm just like sitting, minding my own business, you know? So it's one of those fun things of where I feel like we are going into more of a portable generation, if you 100%. Will, of where the essence of the game is still maintained through the portability of the device that we're using.
100%. I think, you know, that's been the awesome thing about this, where handhelds died, right? And then Switch really put him into a different thing. It
Right
opened everybody's eyes of like, oh, what the consumer wants is their game with them all the time. And I don't want to be that I'm playing, as much as I love my Vita and as much as I love my PSP, I don't want to be playing experiences built for that machine. I just want video games that I play all the time. And so it is this interesting, we're still, I think, in that part where it's like, there's the choice, and as soon as it's solved, as soon as there's a handheld that just does it, it's over, it's done. Like, that's what I'll play everything on. You know, even Monster Hunter, as my obsession continues, it's like, I was thinking, like, I haven't checked. Is it Steam Deck compatible? Should I be running a character over there so that I can play on the road, so that I can do X, Y, and Z?
You should. You should always be ready to rock and roll just in cases, right?
The only reason why I really want to get Steam Deck at all is to play Baldur's Gate 3 because I have over 100 hours in that game and it's my everything. Like, sure. I never really enjoyed turn-based games until I played Baldur's Gate 3. Like, it was just the way that the characters were in the story. Like, for me, story is a huge factor when I'm reviewing a game, which actually leads into the next topic I want to talk to you guys about, which has to do with reviews. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about what makes them accurate, including nuance, subjectivity. What do you think makes a review special, in your opinion?
Unsupported on the Steam Deck. God damn it, Monster Hunter.
No. We'll write an email right away.
Thank you.
I mean, Greg,
that's the title of this video now is Monster Hunter. Just Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter screwed over Greg Miller.
Greg's the king of reviews, right? When we talk about IGN and the history, you are, you know, I think you have a lot of history with that one, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on reviews from the beginning to now where we're at with Kind of Funny. I think it's grown a lot for you.
Yeah, of course, because I think, you know, reviews are persuasive essays. They are, here's what I played, here's my experience with it, and here are my thoughts on it. And as always, I think video games are art, meaning that, of course, everyone will interpret them and have a different experience with them. You know, when I was at IGN, it started in 2007, because I'm that old, like, there wasn't a right or wrong way to write reviews, but it was, at least for me, I'm writing the review and I'm telling you how many maps there are, I'm telling you how many levels there are, I'm telling you how many hours it took. Like, I'm weaving that into my thoughts, but it was also, hey, you need to understand the basics of this, the back of the box kind of stuff. And that's a boring review, and that's a boring preview. And that was, my time at IGN changed, where it was like, we had a great editor-in-chief named Hillary Goldstein who came in and was like, we're not doing that anymore. That's not what this is. The internet's changed. You can get that information anywhere. This needs to be about your personal experience with these games, whether it be a preview or a review. And so they still exist in that interesting spot. And I think Kind of Funny especially is in such an interesting place where we're not on Metacritic. I don't think people are coming to us as the gold standard as people still do when they come to IGN. So we have an audience coming here for the most part, our daily audience, our Kind of Funny best friends, who are here because they know Mike likes games like X, Y, and Z. And so when he reviews game A, that's going to be different than Greg's review of games A because Greg likes X, Y, and Z. And so you can have, I think, more variety in the opinions that way and have a more fleshed out product, a better discussion. We're about podcasts here. We're all about live talk shows at Kind of Funny. And so whether it is Games Daily, Games Cast, whatever, you want it to be a conversation that you can jump on and disagree with, but agree with this and go on that. And so I think it really is now more than ever how you feel about a game. And it's, I'm reviewing another game that will remain nameless, and it is one of those questions of like, oh, this is great, but I don't like that. But does it matter? Does it like, well, and it's like, well, this is my thing, right? I'm not trying to do the IGN thing of, I didn't like X. I loved A, B, and C, but I didn't like D, so I have to ding it down here when I can just say, again, like, there is no Metacritic Greg Miller and there's my score, right? I can sit there and tell you everything that got me to that thing. And I think make for an interesting case that our audience and the looky-loos who come in for bigger reviews will push back on and not agree with that. That's what it is, blah, 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 or you're too hard on a game, or you're too soft in a game. And again, for the kind of content we produce, that's great. I want discussion. I want lively, obviously good-natured debates, not arguments in ill faith or anything like that. But reviews are always changing because our industry is always changing, and I think reviews are different when you go from Polygon to GameSpot to IGN to Kind of Funny to Min-Max. Like, there's a plethora of people out there talking, and it's the thing I've said, which is now a broken record because I've said it for so many years, but it is the idea that whoever is listening to this right now, you are in the best time for games criticism because it is so varied and there are so many people talking, and it isn't 2007 when we were all trying to say the same things, also say if it was good or bad, but you're so caught up on semantics of the game and what it is, you're not thinking about your own experience and trying to present something.
I honestly, I agree with you because I've been writing reviews for the past almost 9 years now, and the first time I wrote something professional was for Windows Central, which I'm currently still doing editing videos for them and everything like that. And it was so interesting to actually have more viewer feedback because I wrote my first review on Kill the Justice League. And
wow.
that was a that was a fun
Come
time.
out swinging.
Yeah, but I loved the game, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. I loved it. I loved the way the presentation was done. I love, spoilers, how they killed Batman, because you don't see that in a lot of games. And it took a different approach to where, hey, the good guy is not always going to be there to protect you. There is going to be some issues in the system that make it impossible for the good guy to flourish. And seeing that the good guys get corrupted and seeing that switch in the story is what really made me love it. And so many people were like, oh, you can't trust Ariel because she gave it a 4 out of 5. It's like, well, no shit. Because I gave it something that's not going to be critically acclaimed by everybody. It doesn't make it a bad opinion. It just makes it an opinion, which is to your point. You know, so I feel like yeah, and I feel like reviews in general should just be taken with the approach of that. Well, you need to be objective about certain things, but everything else is told like a story.
And I was the fan of IGN looking back in 2007 to 15, scrolling to the bottom and saying, what number did they give it? What are the 5 bullet points? To evolving to, hey, what did they actually write about that? What is not only just the last paragraph, but the whole article? What did they feel? And it's been fun growing here with Kind of Funny. It is about the conversation, right? And I love coming to the table. Most of the time, we don't really talk ahead of the reviews of how we're feeling. So the fun part is like stepping up to the table, not knowing what Greg thinks of this game and hearing what he likes, what he doesn't like. Maybe I really like something and Greg dislikes it. It is always fun and an interesting conversation to be had. And I think that's where my growth has been, is identifying, well, what are the things that I want to highlight, whether that be good or bad. I always want to make sure whenever we get on the podcast that I have my little notes written down and we talk about those things. And I want to hear what everybody else thought of those things as well.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense too, because it's like you can't have a good faith discussion when there are people who are discussing things also in bad faith. You know, this is why I've removed except for talking about things for work, I have removed myself entirely from Twitter. There are certain things about it that just, it's an ecosystem created on selfishness, of where you see one opinion and then the other person's like, no, you must have this opinion, Gert. This is how they talk, by the way. And yeah, and each time you try to have a like a good faith discussion, it kind of boils down to the most simplest of caveman talk that I've ever seen.
Well, that's that. You have to be pithy, right? 280 characters now. Right?
280 characters. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I need to know, going into the next topic, I need to know about your understanding of difficulty in gaming. I know we touched on it briefly, but whenever it comes to discussing, even in a review, difficulty in gaming, should that be something of where we take the approach of, well, this game was difficult, we should let it be difficult, or we should attune to, like, we should have them more attuned to what the player is? Keep in mind, I'm separating difficulty from accessibility, because those are two completely different assets.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That is something a lot of people miss, I think, in the conversation, right?
Definitely.
You want to go, Mike? You want me to?
You go first, Greg. Difficulty is an interesting conversation, right? I think it's a fun, evolving one that we're currently having, especially with the rise of the FromSoft games, right? And the rise also of accessibility, and where does that play? I think that's a great conversation. Like, accessibility. Separating those, and it's like so cool to have this talk, and it's always evolving. Of I don't know where I fall on difficulty. I want the developers to make the game that they want. I also want the players to play however they want. So if the developer has baby-ass baby mode and super hard bang your head against the wall mode, I want the player to choose whatever they want. I'll never look at you sideways if you were like, hey, Mike, I was here for the story and just wanted to enjoy it. I put it on this mode. And I'm like, that's cool with me. I wanted to go battle every single night and sweat it out. I put it on this mode, right? And so for me, I love the player having the choice, and also the developer, what you envision for your game, put it out there with the people that resonate with it. That's your audience. If the people don't vibe with that, if they say it's too difficult, then they're going to move on and find a different game for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head for me on both accounts, where I want people to be able to play whatever they want to play, and I've never been one of, you played it on easy, you put it to story mode? No, never. You know, I go by default, and even when default's easy, it's rare that you see me raise the difficulty.
Yeah.
Usually I'm just like, oh man, this is easy. I don't feel like finding out what it's like to get my head kicked in, so I'm not changing it, you know what I mean, whatever. And then, yeah, I think the biggest part for me from the creator side is, yeah, developers need to make the game they want to make. And I think that we talk all the time about how saturated this industry is and how hard it is to get your game out and how many games we see fail because they were designed by committee, the vision was watered down, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think we can have that conversation and then at the same time have a conversation that, well, every game should be for everybody. And I don't like how that sounds when I say it. I'm not talking about accessibility, but it is if the developer's vision is that, no, this is going to be you die once and your save gets eaten and it kicks you back to the front. Like, it's a game I would not play. I don't want to have that experience, but I respect that that's the choice they're making. And maybe that is what makes them stand out, right? Like the FromSoft conversation isn't a new one of, man, these games are so difficult and people just want to play them, but they don't want to get their heads kicked in. And they've said, cool, we get that, but this is what we make. And you see the success of that go on and you can't really argue that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the push and pull of this is like, it's the same way to step back and take this argument to anything. It's the same advice I give to anyone trying to do what we do, or when they were trying to, when I was at IGN and people want to work at IGN, how do I do this? What do I do? I say, well, are you doing it? Well, no, well, you need to do it. And when you do it, do not be copying IGN. No one's going to go to you to be IGN because there is an IGN and you can't compete with that. What you can do is be I love Madden and I only play Madden and I'm the Madden expert, and then you will get the freelance reviews and previews to go do Madden coverage, or to be that for Souls, or to be that for JRPGs. Be a niche person. Find what you could do or what you love more than what you know better than anybody, and really commit to that. And that gets you seen. It's the same thing for games. It's the same thing for channels. Like Kinda Funny has been around for 10 years. We have outlived a lot of our, not competition, because there is no competition, our collaborators, our peers. And one of the reasons that is because we are unabashedly Kinda Funny. Lots of people do not like Greg Miller. They do not like the wrestling heel persona. They do not like me interrupting the Nintendo Direct to give Tim cake and do jokes from his car. Like, that's totally fine if you don't like that. A very small group of people that in the world of what we do is large does like that, and they support it and they want to be here for it. And so you got to double down on your audience if you have it. And so I would never want to be like, oh man, this developer is a bad developer because they won't make their games or give it an easy mode or da-da-da. But in the same way, I would also say, I really don't think that matters. If that developer is going to talk to me, I'd be like, I really bet you could make your games easier or do these things. I always go back to Celeste. Celeste is a incredibly challenging and punishing platformer if you want it to be. Otherwise, you can go into the accessibility settings and you can, or maybe I think they're accessibility, whatever. I know we're trying to keep separate, but you can go in there and tweak jump times and, you know, no die mode and da-da-da. You can put all these things that made that game enjoyed by more people, to the point that it made Maddie Plays such a big, not Maddie Plays, that's a YouTuber. Who am I thinking of? The developers of it, who I'm going to check on right after this, and they changed their name too, which is also, it doesn't matter. It got the game to more people. It won a Game of the Year awards, and it got this following behind Celeste that really mattered, that really went somewhere with it. And there's juice to both arguments, and it really is, I think, back to what the developer wants to make. Who you got? What do you got from? Who made this?
Maddie Thorson.
Maddie Thorson. Well, what's it? Is it Maddie Plays? Maddie Makes Games? Is that what it was?
Let me take a look, see if they have an update on that.
Celeste developer.
It's really interesting too, because it's like, I remember specifically, like, you know, always saying in my reviews that I do that, hey, you know, accessibility is different from having a difficult game. You, like, for me personally, I can't stand bright lights in games. Like, for me, it's a big issue for my eyes. So when I go in and I see, oh, there's like in Alan Wake 2 in particular, there was like a rim in a certain section where you had to fight one of the bosses. I think it was down in like the sewer area that you had to fight that really like PT looking like female boss that was in the room, and there would be like a banner of white light that just rimmed the entire section, and my eyes were just like, I had to like stare away after each section. There's stuff like that. There's stuff like with motion sickness, like I've said before, you know, of where I feel like companies could do better at making those things more accessible and more friendly. But when it comes to difficulty, at least for me, I'm more of just a friendly, like, big sister, like, hey, get good, you got this. If you are able-bodied, I know you can complete a Souls game. Like, hands down. Even if you're not able-bodied, fuck, there are so many people who literally play it with their chin with the controller and do so many things. Like, if someone can do that, I know that people, without a doubt, can play these games. They just want to complain and whine and say like, oh, I'm not good enough. No, you can practice and you can become good enough.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's back to that time proposition, the value proposition, right? Where it's like, yeah, you could commit to it and be in there and grind it and get sweaty and get better and have that. I've overcome the thing. Whereas, like, as a gamer and just the free time I have is never what I want to do. But I get that that's a personal choice, right? I'm not looking at those games going, oh, you should make the bosses easier. Maddie, M-A-D-D-Y, makes games.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. And I really I love having these conversations because it's so important to make people understand that like there is that difference between accessibility and something just being hard. I've even discussed it with Fighting Cowboy as well on the podcast, because when we discuss about these things and we make it more common of a discussion, it'll just be normal for people to talk about it and be like, oh yeah, this is this and this is that.
Do you feel it's still around? I feel like it's calmed down so much because there was that flare up, especially around From Software games, that it was the whole thing. And I think it was a lot of devs putting their foot in their mouth on how they responded to questions about it, where it wasn't it's our vision as much as it was some other thing they would say that would then spiral it out of control. I feel like we've gotten to a point where people are just like, all right, it is what it is.
No, I feel like people have gotten mostly over it right now. I feel like it's not as big of a conversation as it used to be. I feel like you'll get one schmuck who just like pops up every once in a while to be like, I'm here and I'm going to complain for no reason. But besides that, no, I think people have become really good about it, honestly. So, but one of the next topics I want to dive into that's not the right way I want to say that. Jesus Christ, let me try to rephrase that. Holy shit. Next topic that we are going to dive into. There, Ariel, speak the words. It can happen. There we go. So, we've talked about difficulties. We've talked about so many different topics. We want to dive into now the Switch 2. What are your guys' hopes for the console? What do you guys want to see as one of the games that releases with the console as well?
Well, the Switch 2 guys. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Great question for both of us. You know, we're big Nintendo guys.
Oh, we're big Nintendo guys.
I mean, really, all that I want is a more powerful system.
Yeah.
It's almost 10 years since Switch. I don't know, 8 years. It's been a long time. And we're seeing more handhelds come out in the market that are stronger, that can do certain things. And I know with the Switch, we talk about that versatility, taking my games anywhere with me. That was the big selling points at the beginning, and that's what made it so special, was being able to dock it at home, be able to play my games and go on. As time has progressed, we have seen that console is now a lot weaker than it needs to be right now, whether it be frame rate, graphics. I think Nintendo-developed first-party games look great. They know how to make it for them. Anything that is third-party related never shines on that console, right? And that is a problem for me, who buys that console and might not be the biggest Nintendo first-party fan and wants to take his games on the go, right? And I think that was a big selling point for me on the Nintendo Switch at the beginning, before any handhelds were, oh man, I'm going to get MLB The Show on the Switch and I can take it anywhere with me. They're going to put FIFA on this, and then you would play it, and it's like, oh, that's not a good experience. Yeah. And so really what I'm looking for from the Switch is a stronger piece of hardware. Will I get that? Probably not. It's probably it'll be one step lower than what I want it to be, but it will still have the games that I'm going to smile at, right? It will have 1-2 Switch where we snap and we laugh, you know. It will have the Mario parties. It will have the arms, right? Like, I like Nintendo for that, right? Yeah. Wii Sports, Mario Soccer. That's
my thing, where it's like people are so hung up on the power and all this stuff. Like, I want it to run Nintendo games good. I'd like Nintendo games to be 4K docked, if that, you know what I mean? Like, is that possible? Whatever. I want Pokemon to look great. You know what I mean? I booted up Legend of Zelda, Echo of Wisdom, and I was like, you know what? I never did Link's Awakening. So before I did that, I'll go back and I started Link's Awakening. Was having fun, but I was literally slackjawed of like, it runs this badly. It can't run Link's Awakening this badly. Like, that's unacceptable. Yeah. That game, you look at PlayStation and what Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch or Gorilla is getting out of a PlayStation 5. Yes, I know they are owned, but still, come on. This Pokemon games that run like trash, like, that sucks. And that is like, get your shit together on that. But that's even that's a minimal ask. I think upgrade what we already have and what we already know. For me, Nintendo I'm not a Nintendo guy. I was raised a Sega kid. It was a huge problem. But my history with Nintendo, once I got on board, was never third party, excluding N64, where there was people making stuff.
Yeah, that's all me.
But like, when you get going, like, I've never looked at my Switch as a third party machine. There's never we see the announcement and it's coming to multiple platforms. Like, well, I'm gonna get it on, where is the Switch version? I'm not looking for that out of GTA 6 or whatever game you want to toss that way, right? So for me, it's make the Nintendo shit run awesome on it and look great on it, so that when I have that Nintendo game I want to play and I grab my Switch, it works. Because I want to play Pokemon Za on it, right? Like I want these Switch 1 games to look better on it. I want to do Metroid on it. I want to do Mario Kart on it. I want to do all these different, and I want it just to look and play the best it can there. But I'm not one of these people who's like, well, you gotta get EA on board and you gotta get 2K, and I want the new Mafia on there and all that stuff. Like, why? Why would you
that's
get a
fun.
Steam Deck?
That's the fun part I wanted to bring over, is like there's competition now, but really there isn't competition, right? Because like the third party people like me that we're looking at is like, this is my mobile device. Now there's a bunch of that. You can just go anywhere. You're coming to Nintendo for Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
So we want to see Nintendo continue to shine. I want them to take their IPs and continue to take them to the next level. The next Mario game, that next 3D Mario game is going to be crazy. We know that. I want to see Donkey Kong get some love. I would love that. I'm a big fan of the Mario sports games. I would like to see baseball return in a fun way. I think with the Joy-Cons, there's no excuse not to make fun, awesome, interactive games with that. Strikers was a big letdown for me.
Yep. I mean, I'm a big Mario Golf guy. Mario Golf was a big letdown.
Mario Golf.
Tennis as well.
Tennis, so they have these beloved IPs for me, but it's like some of the ones that I love that I think more people would say, oh, that's fine. Like I like Mario Kart better than golf, Mike. It's like, yeah, I get that, but that's my game. That's what I want to play.
Yeah. And so then when you talk about like games coming out for you, are you talking launch stuff? You're just talking whatever, dream scenarios, predictions? What are you looking for?
A mixture of both, because I want to know what your dream scenario is and what realistically you think is actually going to come out with the console.
I mean, my fucking dream would be to launch with Animal Crossing. They will not. I do not. I hate saying it because then people go, look, I'm like, I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, dream world,
be there.
A new Animal Crossing. And they're like, guess what? We are actually updating this thing. And it's going to be not a live service because people will flip out, but it's going to be we're doing things in this. We're not going to launch the biggest game of all time and walk away from it after we give you a hoppity hop, hiding some eggs.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
What
the hell is going on? What are you doing out there?
Had the world.
Had the world. Had everything. Had a talk show. Very successful in it. Like I have always loved Animal Crossing, and so to see that one have that moment, and again to play for the 100-some hours I did, to be there every day checking in, to be doing it was obviously during COVID, but I gave my wife one of her birthday gifts in it. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of sweet, tender moments going on in that game that was awesome. And I would love to, obviously not be on every day, but I would love there to be a reason to turn on Animal Crossing once a quarter. Like, I can't believe that they just never did that. It's like, what are we doing?
I mean, they did put out that one DLC, I think, that came out.
The Happy Home update or whatever, it's like, whatever. It's like, they just did not do that.
You got to take Animal Crossing and make it like The Sims, right? You got to have a team that's like, hey, we got to see the future of what we got to add on that. And maybe they weren't expecting Animal Crossing to blow up as big as it did because of COVID. But I think the next one, they got to be looking at that. It's like, how do we continue to roll out content to keep us coming back? We were playing hide and seek on our island with 8 people. It took hours to get everybody on the island to start.
Dodo
and we had so much fun. And it's like, I was in that, and that's crazy to say.
Turn up stocks every day. Like, who's got best prices? Anybody got this? Like, oh, you're in it. People at home just 9 hours letting people on their island to buy at an insane price. Like, amazing. Like, I would love that so much.
Do they launch with I want Wii Sports. I love Wii Sports, and they've done Wii Sports pretty well over the past couple of games, right? Because they've added volleyball, they have basketball, they got bowling, they have all your just generic fun ones. But like, for me, if you came out with a Wii Sports on day one, I'm so jazzed up, right? Like, nothing's better than getting everybody on the couch for a Nintendo game.
I mean, you and I are not
go.
guys. When they got the Switch, they gave Switch Wii Sports at some point, right, or whatever they called it.
Yeah, what do we call Nintendo?
Yes, Nintendo Switch Sports. I don't remember.
Whenever I think of Wii Sports, Mike just called me old in the simplest way possible.
We all feel that way, is right.
Listen, I turned 33 this year, so it's one of those weird. It's one. Yeah, right. It's one of those weird moments of where it's like you see other gamers and you're like, oh my god, I'm playing this game for the first time. It's like, I played that when it came out. Holy shit.
when we talk about a game and Bless is like, oh yeah, that came out when I was in junior high, and I'm like, I reviewed that perfectly at IGN. That's not good.
Oh man, no, I actually played Fallout 3 for the first time recently in like 2019, and boy, did I have a love-hate relationship with that game when I played it.
I mean, I of course, I would want Ocarina of Time. We always talk, there's always talks and rumors and whatever. I love Ocarina so much. It was my first Zelda game that I connected with. I would love to get a remake of that.
I would love to see the numbers for those remakes, right? You
Yeah.
bring up like the old school Pokemon. It's like, how many people are jumping back into old school Pokemon when you have someone like Kevin who's like, man, the quality of life is so great on these. And you're like, yeah, I think we've moved on. But I think Zelda has such a special one right now with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where I think fans would be more willing to jump onto an older one, where I think Pokemon, you go back to Red and Blue and you're like, all right, we got to get up to the new ones over here. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd love seeing the sales numbers on those.
Yeah, and seeing the commercial for that was the first time I ever saw a commercial for not for a platform, a console, and I thought it was sexy. Like, that was a sexy commercial. Like, my gosh. I mean, I saw it, and the way that the editor put everything together, like, that man needs to raise, that man, that woman, whoever did that, I need them to know that they are loved.
They did it. They did the damn thing.
It was so good. It was so good. But one of the next topics I want to move on to is entitlement in gaming. So we see it a lot of the time within the subculture and even just the main culture itself. We see a lot of fans get entitled whenever it comes to skins, whenever it comes to how a game performs, whatever the case may be. What do we think that we're kind of removed from this situation, oddly enough, as content creators and people who have worked in this industry, of where we see it from a side of where we know developers, we see how much work they put in and how much time is and energy is just put in general to everything. Where do you think the entitlement stems from?
I mean, you just tiptoed right onto it, I think, right? It is the disconnect from the people who make your video games. I think if you were to go back and read my early reviews at IGN, I reviewed a bunch of bad games. The games weren't good. And I remember, because of a pivot point in my life, but I remember those reviews being very much like lazy developer, this, that, the other. They don't care, like calling out devs and companies as you went. And it wasn't, I don't remember who, but there was a conversation with a developer that wasn't referencing my reviews, but just talking about how hard it is to be a developer and be like, no one sets out to make a bad game. Like when something goes wrong and the game doesn't come together, that's a whole bunch of people failing together. And you then have to take, solace on your resume and your things of like, well, I made this system that was good, or I made this art asset that was great, or the level design worked really well. And it might not have come together, and the fact that other developers in the industry understand that and can look at a bad game on your resume and not be like, woof, be like, oh, well, you did X, Y, and Z in it. Okay. And that was something that came over time and then I think influenced over time, let alone not having friends who are developers, but just meeting developers and seeing how excited they are to talk about their projects before it launches, how much of their time and work went into it. I think, if you're wanting to stay through the credits and you get to production babies, that's always such a great way of putting into context, like, we worked on this game for years. And that's the scary thing to think about when you really think about video games, right? Of like, how many games does the average developer get to do, especially as budgets balloon and timelines go and games take 6-7 years? Like, cool. Like, how long are they working? How many are they actually going to make? You see, like Ted Price retiring from Insomniac and his Hall of Fame induction at DICE Awards, and they rattle off like the gajillion games Insomniac did under his leadership, when it was so much easier and quicker to turn a game because games are smaller and faster and cheaper and da-da-da. Yeah. And now you get to where there's this big slowdown of like, okay, cool. Like, if you're a developer entering the industry and doing this, what do you do with that? And so the entitlement, I don't think, comes from a place of being an asshole. The entitlement comes from a relationship where you've cut the humanity off of the other side of the screen and you don't see how much work goes into making that game, whether it be voice actors, musicians, et cetera, to make that thing. What you see, and which is not a inaccurate view, what you see is you giving $70 to a big bad corporation, which is PlayStation, EA, whoever, getting this game, going home and being disappointed in it. And then being mad because of refund policies or however it is, or just going to a store or what, there's a million other things to get into there. But like, there's enough little things that sour the experience that you then go into the Twitter mode, you know what I mean? Where it is, you fire off your feelings and you're mad at it and you hate that developer and this game sucked, and it's boiling down larger conversations that, the game didn't suck overall. It's this you didn't like or that you didn't do and da-da-da-da. And it's like such a convoluted relationship, let alone a complicated subject, that it's impossible then to do it. And so it's easy, as everything is in our 900 miles an hour day of headlines and tweets and blue skies and Instagrams and your own life, and then the real drama in your life with your mom and your dad and X, Y, and Z, that it is just that's binary. It's good, it's bad. They're good, they're evil. It's this, that. You don't think about the people, you don't think about the work. And so The entitlement comes to, this is $70, and probably I've waited X years from it. They announced it, and I was the biggest fan of IPX. IPX got here, and they did it wrong. They did everything wrong, and I hate it. Like, the entitlement comes from your personal ownership of something. Look at me with Ghostbusters, and probably more accurately Superman, right? And like living through the DCEU, and like me just shitting all over these movies that I did not like, but I understand people tried. I understand there was a vision. It might not have been the vision I wanted, but I fucking own Superman. He's mine. You know what I mean? And this happened, and it wasn't what I wanted. I'm mad about it. Like,
it's the passion as well. I think the disconnect is the biggest one, but you were talking about two passionate groups, right? The game developers who are giving their life, their passion, their blood into this game that they're working on. And then there's the fan base that is passionate about this hobby. They're passionate about the games that they love, right? And there's a clear line of passionate criticism, praise. You can be right there, but the moment you overstep the line, which I think we see a lot of in social media, is where it goes too far, right? There is a passion that is in this hobby that is a lot. $70 for a game that you work so hard for in your 9 to 5. You are hoping that this is all that and more. And you don't see the people behind the screen, like you said, Greg, of like, they're making this, they're trying. We don't really get much, hey, let us take you on a YouTube video of what we're doing today and why is it so difficult. I don't understand how to make a game. I'm doing my job, just trying to be a part of the society. I just want to play the game.
And there's the skew, right, of like anybody who makes a game is doing what they love and their passion. They're getting paid 6 figures to do it, right? There's that idea of like, I'm spending my $70 to give these millionaires this, and it's like, that's not how it actually is. These people are over there probably being underpaid as well to make the game you want. And so it's a vicious
It's a multifaceted thing.
Yeah.
You know, that goes
and I think
into
I think if you were to look back at, me and my friends bitching about whatever wrestling game we were playing, of course, not the N64 ones, they were nearly perfect.
Never.
But like, we'd be having those same conversations, but it would be that we were having them in our basement. You know what I mean? Like, me and my wife talk about this all the time as our relationship with social media has changed. Like, we really don't need to hear everyone's opinions, ours included. You know what I mean? Like, every thought I have shouldn't be shared on the internet because I don't know everything. Yeah. And it used to be that thing of like, oh man, is the world a more negative place now? Is there more bad stuff? It's like, no, we have access to everyone's waking fucking thought.
Correct. We used to be able to be in groups, and it's like, oh, Greg said something insane. We're going to walk away from Greg for a little bit. Now it's the internet. There's a million of them. Yeah. They're all shooting them off right there. Is right.
I mean, I do think my opinion should be known on the internet that I am a huge fan of Morbius. Just saying.
You're a fan of Morbius? See, you're fucking stupid.
I bought the DVD version, Greg. Listen, that should be my new tagline on YouTube. It's Morbid time. Have a good one. Just imagine someone in New York on like the Interstate Parkway just going, have a good fucking day. It's Morbid time.
It's Morbid time. See you later.
So the next topic I want to get into more of I want to say more of a serious topic because I had this idea in the back of my head that I would discuss something that of just pure substance of me. We all are discussing the things of substance of me, but this one hits a little more close to home because I am a woman and this topic more deals with the womans. What do you guys think of where a lot of gamers, I want to say a lot of the grifters as well in content creation, how do you think, how do we even approach this topic? How women in games are approached. How do you think it is being kind of dissected and more or less convoluted into something that it's not? Because we see so many women that are approached in gaming, we see them being like dissected down to the most finest point of the hair on their cheeks to how everything is approached. So I mean, like, we see more masculine women who are in video games now that are upcoming from Naughty Dog. I forget what the title of the game is.
Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophecy.
Yes, that one. And we saw a more masculine fronting woman, and people had apparently a bug plot up their butt about it. And there were so many things that I've been trying to formulate, but I haven't had the right words in order to say it. So I thought, let's have a conversation on why women are being a little more dissected nowadays versus back like 10 to 15 years ago.
I mean, I would pivot back to the answer I just gave you about the internet. Like, I think it's just we're all, myself, I'm terminally online. Like, I just, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much, you're online, you're seeing every comment, you're seeing every post, you're doing this thing. It's back to what Mike's talking about. You have one Yahoo in your group or whatever, like, all right, well, whatever. But now he finds the other Yahoos that all feel that way. And again, it's also the fact that we take the Twitter mob, the Reddit, the subreddit thread, the whatever social media thing you see start getting out of control, and I think personally often over amplify that. I think that that's a haphazard survey. That's people coming in. That data isn't real. It's very easy to be like, the gamers are upset, everything's going on, when the overwhelming percent of people playing video games aren't dialed into that, don't know what that is, don't even know about the controversy, thinks that PlayStation makes their games. They don't understand, you know, they buy it on PlayStation, it's got a PlayStation logo on the box, PlayStation bought that, made that game. Yeah. It's not this and Bandai Namco did that and that, whatever the, you know, thing is. So I really do think that the reason you're seeing more scrutiny about it is a couple different reasons, but it's mainly the fact that everyone's online, and so you can all go find that content. And I think when you then get into, as you're calling out grifters and stuff, the people who would be outraged farmers who want to make this Aloy has facial hair and turn this into a whole thing about wokeness and this and the other thing, it's just dredging up the same old that is the exact same movement as MAGA, the same thing we're seeing over here with Republicans, the same thing we're seeing with, like, there's so many, Gamergate, like there's so many tendrils all connected to this that you have the same dog whistles that you're able to set off people who don't even know what they're talking about.
I mean, look, even for example, what happened with Assassin's Creed and Grumps, like that's a perfect example. You know, we're seeing this kind of battle of attrition of people back and forth going, no, we're right, no, this person's wrong. And I feel like at a certain point, the internet is going to have a breaking point. They're going to be like, well, we don't know what the fuck to do right now. Like, there's going to be a moment of where you have that breakdown. And we're even seeing companies, which I love whoever replied back to Grumps. Like, they just... that was great. I loved it. They did what many of us we wish we could do. And it's so interesting to me to see that, because on one end, I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. But on another end, do you guys think that a company as massive as Ubisoft should be replying back to people who we should just pretend don't exist?
I'm not familiar with this Grumps thing that you're talking about.
Oh, you didn't see Assassin's Creed
yeah.
back on Twitter?
Back in, I thought Elon Musk.
Elon.
Okay. So I think there's a couple different interesting points to jump into there, right? Where people are, you know, the breaking point of the internet. I would argue that we're already past it. I think the fact that, like, you are to a point where Twitter is a lost cause. Like, I've stopped tweeting. I've stopped opening Twitter. I open Twitter now to check, just to go to DMs. And it's because all the people I want to talk to on Twitter aren't even using Twitter anymore. The conversation that made Twitter so special to me is gone. Like, I don't have an engaged conversation there. So now I post to Bluesky, and GDC was almost like fucking, went to a lot of Catholic school. I did 13 years of Catholic school, right? And it's the Pentecost, right? Where Jesus has already died. The apostles all get the Holy Ghost above their head, and they all come back, and they're all speaking different languages because they're supposed to go spread the word of God everywhere, right? GDC was that for social media of, all right, well, hit me up on Bluesky. Oh, I'm not on Bluesky. Oh, well, I don't use Twitter anymore. Oh, well, LinkedIn? I guess I can turn on, you know what I mean? It was like suddenly there's no universal everyone's there anymore, which I think is both sad because I loved how it was before. I loved following the shenanigans and yada, but of course that was 10 years ago. It was long before I had a kid and my free time was so limited. But I think it's also good of, like, when you push back from all this and you get away from it, whatever the drama is of the day of whatever's happening, it just doesn't fucking matter. To your point of, like, you know, oh man, the grifters or the people who want to outrage farm and get everybody so mad about everything. It's like, yeah, they got them all so mad about Assassin's Creed that it was the best-selling Assassin's Creed. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? Like, these people don't matter. Like, they can matter. And I'm not. The grifters don't matter, right? They're clearly outrage farming to get the view, to get the click, to get the sponsorship, to keep going. And I say this as somebody who has many sponsorships for his own company, but we do it because hopefully you like the content we're making, the conversations we're having, and we're not doing it in a bad faith, right? We're out there having conversations we want to have. And so it is this, like, push and pull of the whole thing, but I would say we're past the point where I think the jig is up and more people are realizing, like, oh, this really doesn't matter. This was my argument for so many years, right or wrong. And I was told by many of my colleagues, and I know we're talking about the scrutiny of fictional women in video games, but many of my colleagues of women in games on my side of it, my peers, you know what I mean? Of something popping off online, them engaging in it, becoming this huge brouhaha, and they're yelling at this and my argument was always, don't give it oxygen. It's fire. If you don't give these people oxygen, the fire dies out because they move on to the next thing. And that's how I did it for a long, long time. And I had my thing where I'd feed the fire or go away or do whatever, blah. And then I've had it from other people, of course, my peers and my female peers saying, that works for you as a straight white guy, but it doesn't work for us because of X, Y, Z. And that was eye-opening, but it's also like, you look at this and it is like, okay, yeah. I mean, Assassin's Creed Shadows dunked on Elon Musk, right? And they ratioed him and all this. Last I saw, I'm sure now the people who will jump on any grenade for him have probably come the other way with it or whatever. But it's like, none of this fucking matters. And I think, again, like, this is very dangerous. But what I tell a lot of people about this, like, and I don't mean to be that guy, but I am this guy. It's strange. I'm like, if you're tied up and worried about all this shit and like the social media part of it, have a kid. Your priorities completely change to where it's just like, I mean, it used to be like when I would walk Portillo, I'd be on Twitter and I'm in between cutscenes and I'm on Twitter. And a long, long time ago, before I ever met Mitch Dyer, who now writes video games, but used to work at IGN, long before I met him and he was a freelance journalist, he did an article about 10 people to follow in video games Twitter, and I was one of them. And what he put in there was heartwarming then, and now I think back to how ludicrous it is, but he's like, basically tweet at Greg Miller and he'll probably respond. Because I did respond to every tweet, and I would respond to every PSN message, and I would sit there and like take time to do that. And now I can't find time to call my parents. So no, I don't care about the tantrum Elon Musk or somebody who's mad about Aloy's facial hair is having, because fuck you. It doesn't matter. What are you talking about?
Fuck you.
Yeah, it doesn't. And that's the thing, too, of where, like, I'm a part-time caretaker for my dad. Like, there's so many different things that accumulate during the day of where someone is just like, hey, Ariel, someone talked about you on this, or, like, someone messaged or, like, did something. I'm just like, okay, let them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Like,
Greg,
I was always like that.
No, I didn't see the video. Why would I watch this? I opened it's 37 minutes. No, I'm not going to watch this. I don't care.
The only time that I ever gave it oxygen and I left it and I was so much better for it. Now I take every single Friday with my mom. We get coffee and we have time outside. We touch grass. Okay.
Yeah,
it's fabulous. It's wonderful. And the only time I ever gave it oxygen was when, God, I can't remember his name. Smash GT put me on his list and someone was like, oh yeah, Ariel, you should probably try to get him to take it off. It's like, it's going to be there regardless. Let him have it on there. Let it roll. It's fine. As long as people, are just kind of simmering down, that's fine with me. I'm barely using even Twitter anymore, so I don't see half the shit that comes at me half the time. So it's so funny to me now whenever I think about it, because back then I would say like stuff back and forth, like, Greg, like you said, we were responding back and forth, and it's just like I'm getting to a part where I'm too old to really give a shit about what anybody thinks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's how much you want to engage with anybody. And like, we want to engage with our audience. That's the long and short of it, right? So as this is all starting to get different, for me at least, or evolve, it really is that the social channels I'm using are us talking to you through YouTube, us talking on Patreon or whatever. And like, that's what I worry about, in quotes. I'm not worried about what is being said about me on some other YouTube channel with some of the, again, I say my piece about why I love Dragon Age Veilguard, and you want to make 13 video essays about why I'm an idiot for that, go for it. I said my piece, you can say yours. What, it's free country, go for it. Now how much longer it'll be a free country, I don't know, but we'll
That game was so good, by the way. Ugh, that was my first Dragon Age game. And then I went right into Inquisition after that, and I understood, okay, I get why this was Game of the Year. This is perfect.
Right, yeah.
So good. And Solas, many ways to break my fucking heart. God. Again, the second time, besides story, and I fall in love with an elf. What's wrong with me? No, I'm just joking. So one of the next topics I want to go into is celebrating 10 years of Kind of Funny. We're gonna get into that clap. First off, congratulations, you guys. You guys have created just incredible content. Everyone at the Kind of Funny team has not only, to be very cheesy, influenced how I approach content, but it's made me a better content creator through what you guys do. So thank you. You guys are absolutely influential, and I appreciate the work that you do.
Well, I mean, thank you for caring enough to let us influence you, and then of course for chasing your dream, right? I think that's the biggest inspiration we could have had starting this whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see. And speaking of 10 years of Kind of Funny, looking back, what is the most memorable moments for you of Kind of Funny?
God.
Besides the onesies.
The
What is
most
it, Greg?
memorable moment. I hate that because then I'll start thinking. I mean, like
You got a lot of big moments.
well, I know that's the problem,
Yeah.
right? Where you can go. I mean, like
Day
you
one.
you think yeah, that's what I jumped
know
to.
what I
I
mean?
jumped to
Yeah,
day one.
I jumped to day one.
I
It's a
jumped to
big
hitting
deal.
enter on the tweets that we all quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and doing that and being that first call into Greg live and being live on Twitch and all that jazz.
Awesome moments.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal, right? Like that is one of the biggest moments around of you guys leaving the comfort of those incredible jobs and saying, hey, we want to bet on ourselves. We want to try something different. And, you know, 10 years later, it paid off. But at that point, you didn't know if it was going to work or not.
Yeah, for sure. Winning the game award, of course. Like, you know, I think, you know, I loved being at IGN, but I went out and I shouldn't sound like I was gonna be negative about IGN. I love being at IGN. When I was at IGN, it was still a very siloed industry to where it was mind blowing when I had Jeff Gerstmann on Up at Noon. Like people couldn't believe that, right? And I remember when Dan Shu came by the office once, that people were like, "Oh my gosh, Shu's podcasting with Tal or whatever." Like to get recognition from the industry, like on the biggest stage, that like, oh hey, we're doing something from our spare bedroom, remember, that like is actually resonating and cool, and not just it's like actually people are talking about it outside of our community. That was huge for me.
Hosting the Dice Awards, you've been great at
Give
that.
me your moments now.
Well, I'll give you some of mine. Hosting the Dice Awards, I really loved you doing that.
Thank
That
you.
was fantastic. You and Tim doing the Final Fantasy show.
Sure.
That was a big deal. That was pretty
Yeah,
fun
that
to
was
see you
crazy.
guys up there celebrating that. When you took the Darksiders 3 Scythe Collector's Edition and left it in Golden Gate Park and said, we're going to leave it here. If anybody finds it, good luck.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
even
yeah.
I, who lived up in Tahoe 200 miles away, thought, I'm going to get in the car and go try to find this thing right now. Like, that was exciting, fun stuff, right?
That was those early days, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna do unboxing videos, so just send us things to unbox.
Send me stuff.
All right,
Yeah.
here's this Darksiders like, all right, here we go. Too big for the house, so we have to get it outside of the house.
Nick Scarpino and Andy Cortez getting creative in KFAF.
Sure.
Having fun. They're in a shower together eating ice cream. And
Yep,
you just
never
laugh.
forget. Yeah.
The do the turkey twerk.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that? You know, great stuff. Kevin always. I go down a list of a million Kevin stories for sure.
That's the thing where it's just like so jam packed of memories, and we still make them every day.
Yes.
That's always the thing that I think is the most amazing for me is like I think of IGN and I think of, you know, my 8 years there, which used to sound like a lot. In so many different chapters, whether it was, you know, the old office, whether it was the Hillary era, whether it was, you know, Casey era, whatever, all these different things that you go into. And Kind of Funny clearly has had eras as well, right? We're talking about the original spare bedroom, just the four of us, moving to the comic book shop, moving here, COVID, obviously, and stuff like that. But it's the idea that like every day we do something that somebody's like, this is the best thing they've ever done. Like today with the interruption of the Switch Direct with me coming out and having a fake video, like the reaction to that video already has been amazing. So it's just like, I love that we keep making the memories, and I love that obviously that we're able to give you guys the space to go do that.
Yeah, it's wild when you think of like my time with Kind of Funny, right? It was like pre jumping on board and having the opportunities to come on and be on Greg Miller Industries, doing Kind of Funny prom, going into Kind of Funny live with Daryl at the time, and how special that was meeting you guys at TwitchCon, to then being hired. And when I was first hired, it was we were working from home, right?
Yeah.
That disconnect of having your dream job, but also at the same time the freedom to do anything, but also the scariness of like, well, we're not together. I have no idea what anybody thinks, how this is working, to then coming together here in the studio and making these memories. Me and Bless going to Chicago, making these memories together, laughing and having a good time. Me teasing Andy every single day, being my best friend. It's the best, right? So
Teasing.
yeah, every single day we get to make something new, something fun, and we have the the ability to do anything. It's an awesome experience.
That's incredible. And, you know, I mean, you can't forget about, you know, torturing Tim all the time.
Of course. Yeah, that is one of my favorite
I
memories.
love getting my 5 seconds with Tim. Tim's very busy, so I make sure to get mine whenever I can. A couple of
You
seconds.
torture him enough.
Just
That's
to
your
make him
problem.
smile, tell him a fun story, you know, put him onto something.
It's just TT time, you know, torture Tim
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the final questions that I have for you guys, narrowing down here, the time went actually really fast, which I
Didn't
don't
it?
like
Yeah.
that we're ending it off. But what does Kind of Funny mean to you? You created this legacy and this massive ecosystem of a franchise. And now that it's affecting other people like myself, like other creators, what do you think of how this has affected people now?
Yeah.
A lot of that comes to my mind.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, Kind of Funny is family.
Yeah.
Kind of Funny is friendship. Kind of Funny is fun, right? Kind of Funny is a community that has come together with a shared passion for video games and nerd culture. And there's this special thing that will be left here in this community, no matter if it stopped tomorrow, if it stopped 30 years from now, 50 years from now, it'll be looked back on 4 guys who took a chance on themselves that grew into a business of 11 and beyond.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we shared those passions and we shared the fun through the good times and the bad times. We had real discussions. We had fun shenanigan moments where we just laughed, and we tried our best each and every day to create something that was special for not only ourselves, but for the audience and for the world.
Yeah. I mean, to summarize it, right, it's next to impossible, but yeah, I mean, it's family for sure. I'd say Kind of Funny's home. You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like both for us and the audience that chooses to be with us, you're that stop. I always talk about that, and I've talked about it since IGN and Beyond and GameScoop and stuff like that. But like, the time somebody chooses to spend with us when they're listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube, like, that's a sacred space. Like, again, there's only so much time you get in the day. And so the fact that you're making an hour or multiple hours to listen to a show, to watch a show while you're at work, in the car, cooking, like, I know what that relationship with other shows means to me, like what the things that I listen to for my passions. So the fact that people invite us in that way, and then, get inspired by us to go do something, get a dog and name it after Portillo, have a kid, like, go from meeting at an event to having a kid to doing the, to chase their dreams, to work here, right? Like, I often think of, like, one of the most important things for me, and it's very navel gazing about Kind of Funny, right, is the legacy. And it is the idea that, like, Mike would have gotten a job anywhere he wanted in the world. Bill Blessing would have too. Barrett would have, there's all these different things, but they wouldn't have been together like this. They wouldn't have been together. They wouldn't have been here. And no matter, like you're talking about, what happens one day to Kind of Funny, whether it goes on for 50 years or closes up in 5, right? Like, their lives are changed because of it. And then they ping pong off and go in a different direction. And, this has been, the year of the meet and greets where it's been I grew up listening to you. It used to be like, oh, you inspired me to do this when I was in college, or I started in high school, and now it's I've been listening to you since I was 8 years old, and now I'm here and I'm working, or I'm making the game, or I'm making a movie or whatever. Yes. Which is incredible. But it's the same way where I get thanked by these people for being there and having some small part of their journey, which often then speaks to me about the power of Kind of Funny and what it's going to be, and the fact that, to your point, Mike, I don't think it'll ever die. When it does close one day, hopefully when we sell it for $1 gajillion, I make out like a fat cat, I cut all these people loose. When it does die one day, it won't die, because it'll still be this is how crazy I am, right? It'll still be this kid being like, well, how did great grandma and grandpa meet? Or, grandpa went to do this thing, and they don't even mention us, but he went to go to a game development, great grandpa went to a great game development school.
Yes.
And it won't even be, but it was because he listened to the show and got inspired to go do that. And that's what led to you know what I mean? Like, there's all these sliding doors, butterfly effects things, but it's like, we've done so much good that I like the idea that, like, it'll always be part of the fabric of the universe in some way.
People in San Francisco will be like, that old man Mike still walks by the studio every day because he felt like it was home.
He works that in and out now. He spent way too much money on. Here, you got 3 milkshakes, and you drank 2.5 of them. Good Lord, Mike.
No, I think, honestly, I can only speak from my perspective, but the way that it has influenced me, and especially, I do have to say, Greg, the way that you're on camera, like, persona, and the way that you approach being on camera has influenced me in how I want to up my confidence on camera, because that's, like, one of my biggest dreams, is to do on camera presenting for awards, and that's one thing I'm working towards. Yeah. And the thing is that I love, this is gonna sound so narcissistic, but I love being on camera. I love being funny. I love trying to make people's days better, and that's how you guys influence others. So it's a massive understatement to say thank you, because I know I speak for a lot of the community when I say a thank you for Kind of Funny, a thank you all for the way that you have approached the ecosystem of gaming in good faith and with kindness.
Thank you for listening to the message, and thank you for adopting it.
Yeah, of course. And you guys, I think we are going to leave it on that wholesome, wonderful, cheesy with Gouda message. If you guys like our faces and what we do, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell down below. I upload multiple times a day if I can get to it. And may you guys have a wonderful day. May your coffee treat you well and life give you a nat 20. I will see you all in the next one. Peace, you guys.